hey, I'll tell you what, Jake, here's what we're going to talk about. And he'd be like slapping my leg and my arm and my face. He didn't slap my face. I had to bring some of my old slides back from the dead, as I talked about. Like a 2016 talk, gave that recently because it was explicitly requested. And some of my slides were broken.
Oh no!
I had like a sort of a thing in SVG that span around.
Like a spinner.
Like a spinner. It was a cog spinning around, but it was spinning around. And now it was just sort of going for a wander around the page.
So like the origin of the rotation had changed.
The origin of the rotation had changed. And
did we break the web?
Yes. Well, in my case, yes. Yes, we did. It turns out I didn't matter enough. I didn't register enough on the statistics to worry about. But I was relying on technically a bug in Chrome.
So you are to blame.
Kind of. I don't know. I don't know if I knew I was relying on a bug in Chrome at the time. It's still my ignorance, I suppose. Fine. It's my fault. Fine. Okay. And so if you've got an HTML element, and you spin it around with a transform origin of, well, I guess the default, right?
50-50.
50-50. It kind of spins around the.
We should be completely at a 50%, so that in the middle. By default, the transform origin is in the middle of the border box?
I think it's the painted area, maybe.
Is that a thing that exists? As like...
Yeah, no, yes, no.
I would say border box.
Border box. OK.
But I'm not sure. Tweet at us if you know the answer.
I'll have to go and look that up. And whereas in SVG, the default transform origin, I think, is 0, 0. But this is where it starts getting weird. Is the transform origin sort of differs from, like, so if you do, it's 0, 0, but not to the element. It's to the SVG element.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, I think, yes, now that you say that, that might be true.
But if you did transform origin 50%, 50%, Chrome would put it in the middle of the painted element. Like
the individual SVG, individual
yes.
thing, not the SVG view box.
So if you wanted the cog to spin around the center, transform origin 50%, 50%, rotate,
would do the thing you'd expect. OK.
And everything works.
What if I do transform origin 0, 0?
Oh, that would be the top left of the SVG. Yeah, it was a bit weird. Like percent behaved differently to...
And 0%?
I don't know.
OK, I mean, it's apparently not working now anyway anymore.
Yeah, so and it could be that my memory's off there, because I say that is in the past. Chrome fixed itself, thanks Chrome, to behave like Firefox was behaving, which was according to the spec. Like the transform origin is always the SVG, top left the SVG element. The parent.
So
SVG
that
element.
makes me, it reinforces the whole notion that SVG elements have this coordinate system
Yes.
that you work on, and every element works relative to that coordinate system.
Yes.
OK.
Exactly that. And the fix is this relatively new CSS property called transform box. And that takes
That was a very sweet. Interesting.
transform box. Here we go. I'm going to do the rest of the episode in Mickey Mouse voice. No, I'm not. And the values it has is border box, fill box, and view box. So the idea is,
OK.
like, view box.
This is a property on a SVG.
It's CSS, so it's on all elements.
OK.
Including.
What do you call
HTML.
the things inside an SVG element? Are they SVG elements? Because
well, we call a paragraph an HTML element, and that's
no, but how do we distinguish between a SVG, the boundary towards an SVG thing, and the things that you can use inside SVG?
Let's go for SVG root or HTML roots.
So we have SVG elements that are inside an SVG root.
Yeah, let's do that. OK. Yeah, so the default for SVG is viewbox.
Yes.
Which is essentially the parent view, SVG view. Whereas the default for HTML is, well, I thought it was fillbox, but now you've got me thinking.
One of the two.
It's either border box or fillbox.
I didn't know that fillbox is a thing, so you might very well be right. I didn't know that we ever had the notion of the region that is painted as something that you can work on.
Yeah, but I am thinking it's border box now, because I think it might be the same as what's created by bounding client rect.
Do we have fillbox somewhere else?
I think
So
we do have it for I
Not
think
for box side.
We have pointer events, I think.
Huh.
Pointer events in SVG.
So basically, fill box could differ from the border box with like masks.
Things escaping outside or things. So I think you're right, actually. I think HTML probably uses border box because so pointer events in SVG, if you have a hover, you can have the hover be to the painted area.
And that,
so if there's a hole in the middle.
For pointer events makes sense because you want to make it to the visual representation of the element, right?
Well, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So this was a huge problem in Flash in the olden days. Yeah, tales from my days as a Flash developer. A lot of people would make this mistake where they would have a button, and the thing they defined as a button would be the button text. And that meant the hover area
you could
was
only
the
click on it.
Yeah, and if it was a really thin font, it was really difficult to click on.
Like,
and
I remember those buggy Flash where you had like.
So with pointer events in SVG, you can define it as being the border box, like essentially the sort of layout box or the painted area.
So just quick question: would outline be part of the fill box?
Ooh, probably not, because it's outside the border box. Oh, it would be in the fill box.
Yeah.
But
So outline would be part of the fill box.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think. Yeah.
Maybe.
I think. I'm just going to give up. But yeah, so is this...
so now you have control over how this works.
Yes. So if you want to...
Chrome changed its default, which broke your thing.
Yes, but now that's supported, Transform Box is supported in Safari, in Firefox, and in Chrome. Not Edge, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So if you want to spin around the center of something, so I used to always, my hack was to you use transforms to get the thing back into 0, 0, do the rotation, and then do the reverse, really, which is a pain. Someone on Twitter came up with a much better way, Fabian Gundel. Because you can have SVG in SVG, and it's its own viewbox then.
Yeah, so you can basically just do a relative coordinate system.
So you can do a relative coordinate system, rotate the thing inside, and then the extra transforms on the thing outside. Problem solved. There's it's all fixed. I like that.
I mean, that's probably not even that bad of a solution. It looks a bit icky in the markup, I guess, but really solves the problem.
Yeah,
well done.
Really solves the problem.
But some of them just don't get the hint. So I'm not a small talker. I hate it.
Right.
Both in Uber or on the massage table, I just go like, yeah, get the hint. I don't want to talk to you.
Oh, and yeah, just drive. Slave.
Most of them do. Most of them are like,
come on.
Or barbershop, also very talkative. I'm like,